In today's video, very interesting and key point here. Suspect's father. Again, this is another person implying that the car doesn't move. This guy's about to take a trip halfway down the country and he doesn't even know if the car's gonna make it or not. Now you gotta think some of the decisions that have been made here have been guesswork, including knowing that Anne was gonna be at her house. How does he know that that day Anne's gonna be at home? She could be anywhere in the country, anywhere around the world, but he knows that that morning she's 100% gonna be at home. That guy in an unserviced car that rarely moves made it bang on, even though there were 2 points of the day where he would have. And not only is Nigel the only one that tells us about a car being seen on the drive, he doesn't mention what color it is, but he also tells us that Starmer told him that the killing was a butched burglary. So you're basically saying that when this happened and Nigel was trying to get some information about what actually happened, the PM, who's literally just left, thank God, basically said it was a butched burglary. On what information? Ladies and gentlemen, we are back again. I hope every single one of you are doing well. I'm curious to know, and I'm sure most of you are curious to know, what's actually going on with the Anne Widdecombe suspect. A number of days, close to a week, there hasn't been any real updates in regards to who the suspect really is, the name of the suspect, the potential motive of this suspect, like literally nothing whatsoever. And I would have assumed by now, like literally by now, there would be something. That you would be able to give us something. Because according to what I'm reading online, what I'm gonna share with you in this video, it's still not making any sense. Still not making any sense. Like in the space of this whole entire week, we haven't been given any further CCTV whereby that car, that red car that they claim he was getting into that morning with the long stick, is seen traveling to Anne Widdecombe's home. Nothing whatsoever, like no CCTV along the motorway, at a service station, in the locality of where Anne lives, nothing. What's extremely weird, at this point, there's only been one person and one person only that's mentioned this. I haven't seen this in the media, and that was about a car being on Anne's drive. A car being on Anne's drive. The person that mentions this doesn't mention the color of the car. They just mention there was a car on Anne's drive that morning before this all happened. Now, the person that mentions this is Nigel Farage. No one else whatsoever. The initial witness told us about a van, told us about the initial man. We've asked questions about, well, how did the guy get into the house? Did Anne just let him in? Did he break in? Apparently, Anne has her own surveillance cameras. So on the back of those surveillance cameras, you would know who broke into the house, how they got into the house, and if there was a car on the drive as claimed by Nigel Farage. You would know that information, but no one's disclosed none of that information to us other than the little bit that I mentioned there about Nigel telling us about a car being on the drive. But what car are we talking about here? According to the neighbors, that red car barely was used, which means to do that type of mileage, it's 100% gonna need to get serviced. I mean, that car was sitting there to the point where it had weeds growing on it. And you're telling me in one day that car was able to do over 500 miles. As far as I'm aware, the only person who's mentioned about there being a car on Anne's drive was Nigel. Would have thought the witnesses who mentioned the white van, they would have mentioned seeing a car on Anne's drive. No, they didn't mention it. Bear in mind, if they would have went through Anne's surveillance, they would have seen that car on the drive and that information would have been fed back to the media. So at this point in the investigation, we're talking about since the 8th, guys, since the 8th. At this point, we would know that there was a car on Anne's drive. Not only would we know, I'm pretty sure they would have revealed the car that was on Anne's drive. They would have shown us some type of CCTV to support the narrative. Again, I don't understand why there is no more information in regards to this suspect. Oh, there is information. We're gonna dive into that information, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere because the uncle of this man has come out and spoken. Based on how he expresses himself in this article, things are just not making any sense. Another thing that we've recently found out is the suspect, although we don't know the name of this suspect, as far as I'm aware, he has a brother that lives in Devon. He has a brother that lives in Devon. Conveniently. I mean, that is extremely interesting. Taking into consideration, we don't have no information about the intruder getting into the house, how they got in. No reconstruction of the scenario has been given to us, although it's been 9 days since poor Anne Widdecombe had her life savagely taken. 9 days. A high-profile politician, after 9 days, has no information out there about what actually happened to her. Suspect, scenario. Bearing in mind, we have got information out there that is extremely questionable. Red flags galore. We've got the terrorism police now involved based on what we don't actually know. It has to be more than Anne being a high-profile politician. There must have been a premeditated plan in place, and there must be something else set in the plans that illustrates someone else being a target or other people being targets. Or is this all a hoax? So the uncle of a man held on suspicion of murder of Anne Widdecombe has told the BBC how he nearly fell to the floor when he heard that his nephew had been arrested. He says, "My legs were like jelly. He's the last person I would think would do anything like that." Now, he does live near his nephew, although he says that he hasn't seen his nephew for about 10 years. He remembers him as a quiet and unassuming boy who was gentle and polite and everything that a shy and young boy would be. And as we know, the counter-terrorism police believe that she was killed in a targeted attack. A targeted attack. So that therefore tells me that there potentially could be other targets. Or they're making it look like there's other targets. I don't know, allegedly. Now, a woman who lives near the suspect also said that she never saw the neighbor very often. He used to take his dad out shopping whilst he was still alive, but since then he never really went out much. Now, this is a very interesting and key point here. The suspect's father. Sadly, the suspect lost his father. I don't know at this point what actually happened. But this is a very key point in potentially understanding the mindset of the suspect and why he committed such a heinous act. Even though there's a number of people out there, including myself partially, that believe this guy could just be a fool guy. I mean, there could be something with his brother already living in Devon. Maybe his brother could have some involvement in this, allegedly. I don't know. But this is what people are thinking online. Literally, the motive could lean towards his dad and there being an issue with his dad. Literally, it could have something to do with his dad. We don't know at this point. Again, speculation, trying to understand why this would have happened and still trying to figure out what the police are doing because it's been a whole 9 days. They've had the guy in custody for at least 7 of those days or, you know, been thoroughly interviewing this guy or doing whatever they've been doing for at least 7 of the 9 days. And we still haven't got any answers yet. We still haven't been given any updates. Now, his uncle does go on to say that things don't add up. To drive all that way and back in one day takes some doing. I would drive past his house nearly every day and 99 times out of 100, the car would be there. Again, this is another person implying that the car doesn't move. And this is one thing that you have to question, that red car. If the red car doesn't move and it rarely goes anywhere, it means in order to do a journey of 500 plus miles, that car is going to need to get serviced. And you can't even have faith in the car making it that journey because it doesn't move anywhere. How do you have faith in that car getting you from one destination to another and then back again, knowing that all of the miles combined are over 500? Like, you got to think some of the decisions that have been made here have been guesswork, including knowing that Anne was going to be at her house. Like, people have mentioned this in the comments, like, how does he know that that day Anne's going to be at home? If she's doing stuff for TV, how doesn't he not know she's in a hotel, she's in a different city? She could be anywhere in the country, anywhere around the world, but he knows that that morning she's 100% going to be at home. And this car that barely goes anywhere, I mean, like his uncle said, and like everyone in the ends have basically said, everyone in that local area, they've said that car barely moves. It's got weeds growing on it. Imagine you can give us that detailed information like, yeah, that car has weeds growing on it. How do you know that? Well, I walk past the car every single day. It goes nowhere. I can clearly see the weeds growing on it. That car is going to have to go through a mechanic service check before it legitimately can go on the road. Before any driver can have faith that it's going to take them on a 500-mile journey safely without compromising who they are and what they're up to. This guy is about to take a trip halfway down the country and he doesn't even know if the car's going to make it or not. What was his plan going to be then? If the car would have broke down halfway there, what would he have done then? Again, like his uncle said, it's not adding up. And we're 7 days in with no CCTV proof of that red car traveling anywhere. We don't even see it leaving the parking bay that it's parked in outside the house. We don't see it leave that. All we see is him walk to the passenger door of the car with some type of stick in his hand or something that they're making us think is a stick. And that's all we're getting to see. And then 7 days later, nothing. Literally nothing. Make it make sense. So what's extremely interesting here is that we've got this statement from a witness. It says a woman, we don't have a name of the woman, and a woman who lives near the suspect also said that she did not see the neighbor very often. So they go on to say, and this is very interesting, and it's a female because it says she said, and I believe this person's name's Courtney Foster. Could be. She said the car left the property in Rotherham, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. So she's giving times. Like she was standing at a window and was watching the neighbor get into the car and drive off, basically. It goes on to say, and this is in quotation marks, I was quite surprised at the time. I thought, oh, the car's gone. I mean, this part is extremely interesting, this one neighbor. This neighbor, I'm not too sure, again, if it's Courtney Foster or someone else, but she says that he left at 7:30, 8 o'clock. If this is the neighbor that had the CCTV, they would be more specific about the time, wouldn't they? Because you had the time of when he was putting the alleged weapon in his car and so on and so forth. That was 10 to 8. So you wouldn't mention 7:30. You wouldn't mention 7:30, but we don't know if this is the witness that had the CCTV. We don't know. But again, she said that she was quite surprised at the time. I thought, oh, the car's gone. So basically, I mean, the way she's putting that across, that car never moves. That morning, this guy's just going to jump in that car and take a trip that's going to take him the whole day. Over 500 miles. And based on her saying that the car was back by 5:30, 6 o'clock, it just tells us that he got in his car, he went there, literally killed her, got back in his car and instantly drove back. He made it bang on each way. Like there was no traffic jams, no nothing. You know, he didn't bump into no rush hour traffic. Yep, he was back bang on time. Like literally the time that Google will give you for average duration, and that's not even including the traffic. That's not even including rush hour. That guy in an unserviced car that rarely moves made it bang on, even though there were 2 points of the day where he would have bumped into rush hour traffic in the morning and on the way back. Bearing in mind, she's saying he got back around 6 o'clock. We know rush hour, 4:30, 5 o'clock, blood. No matter where you're at, it's a mad thing. Even before that, school times. School times, crazy. This is all happening on a Wednesday, and he makes it bang on. I know there's been people in the comments to say it's possible. I mean, I guess it is possible based on what we're being told, right? But it's still not adding up. There's something still wrong here, in my opinion, in the uncle's opinion, in the thousands, hundreds of thousands of people's opinions who are here supporting Anne, trying to understand what happened. It's not making any sense, not adding up. There's things that just don't add up. But it's been, for me, about 2 to 3 days since I've done a video on Anne. And I thought, well, it's been 3 days now. Where are we at? Like, what's going on? One update is this. Aberdeen University worker charged over Anne Widdecombe death comments. We have this university student, Heather Herbert, was reported to police over an online post following Widdecombe's death on Thursday. The police Scotland had initially said there was no criminality in relation to the comments. The Force then confirms the case was under investigation and a 50-year-old has now been arrested and charged. A spokesperson said, we received reports on Saturday the 11th of July 2026 relating to a post made online. Following further assessments, a 50-year-old has been arrested and charged in connection. Was the post that dark? It needed you to go out and spend taxpayers' money to go and arrest him? Now, another thing that I do want to mention in regards to there being only one person who mentions there being a car on Anne's drive, and that's Nigel. Nigel, at the same time, has thrown Starmer and these men under the bus. And not only is Nigel the only one that tells us about a car being seen on the drive, he doesn't mention what color it is, but he also tells us that Starmer told him that the killing was a botched burglary. So you're basically saying that when this happened and Nigel was trying to get some information about what actually happened, the PM, who's literally just left, thank God, basically said it was a botched burglary. On what information? On what information? Has Keir Starmer come out and defended what he said and told us where he got that information from? I mean, how can you be telling people it's a botched burglary gone wrong and then not explain yourself? Unless this is just made up and people have just left it to be misinformation out there. I don't know. Why would Nigel make this up? I'm just trying to understand it. Why would he make this up? Why would he say that Starmer told him that the killing was a botched burglary? Why would he make that up? And if he did make it up, why is Keir Starmer not explaining himself? Why is he not objecting, saying, bro, I never said that? And then who told Nigel about the car being on the drive? Did he see it through the surveillance cameras? Was it Starmer that told him there was a car on the drive? Because as far as I've seen, ladies and gentlemen, none of the witnesses have come forward to mention anything about a car being on the drive. The only thing that they've mentioned is a white van. Where did this car on a drive come from? And why haven't we been given any updates on the car itself? You know, the car's maneuvers that morning, proving that it was on the M-Way traveling to Dartmoor that morning. Why haven't we been given that information? You know, you were quick to show us him putting the stick in a car. You were quick to show us him opening the door of this car, but 4 days after that, still nothing. showing us the car traveling to Dartmoor, or in Dartmoor, or the car on the drive, or the perpetrator breaking into Anne's house. I mean, you must have all of that information, but my only guess here is the reason why they wouldn't be releasing it is because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't look like the guy that's been arrested. I don't know. So again, very, very quick update. I'm gonna need you guys in the comment section to let me know your thoughts, your feelings, and all your opinions down below. I need to know exactly what you guys are thinking. It's been 9 days since poor Anne Widdecombe lost her life. Savagely lost her life. I said it in the last video and I'm gonna say it again. Hopefully, in the next coming days, we get some more clarity, some more updates in regards to what actually happened to Anne and what's actually going on with this suspect. Anyway, leave all your thoughts and comments down below. I'll be responding to as many people as I possibly can. Hit the like button, subscribe. I've got more videos uploading, so don't go anywhere. Be sure to turn your notification bells on, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.